Hello all and welcome to All Red. It's a midweek fixture now that I think is going to be quite enjoyable as Liverpool welcome Newcastle United to Anfield. It's a Wednesday fixture under the lights. Erin, how are you feeling, lad?
Good after last night, mate, yeah. Amazing.
Oh, boy.
That was,
oh, boy.
You know what? That is... I've had a couple of dodgy weekends, with the Aston Villa and the Everton game and stuff like that. But that Man City result... That puts them results to bed. And you know what? That 11-point lead is a blessing, mate. But we need to, I listened to Salah and Virgil van Dijk, we need to keep a foot on the gas. Yeah, 11 points is nothing. Let's look at it like it's 0 points. Yeah, we just need to win every single game. Such a great attitude.
Yep. I agree, and I still think this Newcastle game is a must win at Anfield. Right, These are the games that I think we still need to go out and expect to win. Would a draw be the end of the world? No, but let's not forget that Arsenal still have a game in hand. Right, so let's say Arsenal go out and they beat Nottingham Forest, which I think is going to be a very difficult match for them. If they beat Nottingham Forest and Newcastle somehow pull off a victory here at Anfield, we're looking, we could be looking at a 5-point gap once again, once Arsenal get that game in hand played. So I don't want to say anybody saying the title race is completely over. That would mean that Arne Slot can put out the scrubs for the rest of the season. And that's not the case. So we need to keep the foot on the gas. And I think Arne Slot will do that. I think he's going to continue to play his best 11, which, Aaron, we need to look at right now, and we're going to predict that starting 11, and we're going to predict the score to this one. So let's get started. Of course, it's Alisson Becker at the back. Thought he played really well against City. Didn't have a whole lot to do, but really controlled that back line. It was him, Konate, and Virgil who had the majority of the possession for Liverpool when we had the ball, and Alisson was cool and calm. He had one little thing in that first half where he kind of made a terrible pass and didn't come to anything for City, but Alisson was great. And, it was funny seeing Virgil van Dijk, Aaron, in that first half. You probably noticed this. He told Alisson, catch the ball next time, catch the ball. And the very next play.
It's where he punched it. And he caught it the next play, yeah.
Yep. Then he caught it the very next play. I was like, all right, Virg, you feel bold enough to tell your Brazilian keeper to catch the ball, and he did.
I agree with Virgil. Absolutely. I mean, there was no need to punch that ball. I think sometimes goalkeepers, they just have this thing about punching the ball when actually it's quite a straightforward catch. And listen, I'm not a goalkeeper and I'm not 6'3", 6'4", but for Alisson, that should be bread and butter.
Yeah, agreed. Completely agreed. It's going to be the best center back pairing in the world. Van Dijk and Konate, they were absolutely immense against Manchester City. And Aaron, I want to see that same intensity from these two at home against Newcastle, right? I want to see it. I want to see Konate getting the crowd up, right? After a big knockaway that he had against, I think it was Doku or Marmoush. I want to see it. I want to see that intensity. That was great. Now, we're kind of stuck here, Aaron, with Robbo and Trent. Now, I thought Robbo was decent against City. I thought he had some good, strong headers away, and he didn't really give up too much on that left side. Now, that's because City really didn't attack him all that much because Doku was busy spinning Trent around on that right side. Now, Aaron, I'm curious because I had a lot of comments on my reaction video to that City-Liverpool game. And a lot of people were defending Trent. They were saying, oh, maybe that was the game plan, or Doku does that to everybody. What's your take on that?
I'm in the same boat. I think Doku does that to every right back in the league. But to what avail? If I'm Trent, I'm looking at Doku thinking, you've got me every time. But if it comes to nothing, which every single time it came to nothing, I think that took a lot of the fear away from Trent. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think he had to be at his best. He was positionally poor at times. He dived in a couple of times. But actually, I thought second half he was okay. I thought second half, he definitely had a better half in the second half when I think he started to get to grips with Doku a little bit more. But in the first half, if Doku could cross a ball, it might have been a different story that game. But I actually just think at any point we just would have switched it on. I think Robertson had the same problem with Savinho, but never got beaten quite as much as Trent. But I actually thought Robertson defended pretty well. I thought he did okay. Yeah, he was solid in the challenge. Just makes a couple of little mistakes here and there, but ultimately everyone does. You can't be perfect for 90 minutes. I think the back four did great.
Yeah. I think the worry in this one against Newcastle is you've got an Anthony Gordon player who we know can score. So if he does get past Trent, he can be dangerous, much more dangerous than Doku. And then, of course, it's Isak against Van Dijk and Kanate, and we know that Isak doesn't really have an issue scoring against that center back pairing. So, we got to keep an eye on those two guys, and we know Newcastle can score. But we also know that Newcastle can be scored against.
Agree.
I think it's going to be the same kind of midfield duo in McAllister and Grav. Absolutely immense. And those two guys, I think, they're just going to be in there, Aaron, whenever Liverpool have a big game, which is probably the rest of the season.
Yeah. Yeah. And listen, phenomenal. Such a good workman-like performance from both of them the other day. And McAllister, I've seen his black eye after the game. This guy's a pit bull. He's in the wars every single game. Gravenberch, in my opinion, had a great game. I thought he was excellent. Even though he didn't have a lot of the ball, he likes to control things.
Yeah.
But great performance. Great performance.
It's the danger of, and I think, I'm just wondering what these other Premier League teams are feeling right now, the fan bases, and how they're processing what Liverpool has done this season with no transfer budget, with a team that, Arne Slot inherited, and a team that can go out and beat Man City at the Etihad with 35% possession. I mean, that's just got to be terrorizing, rival fan bases, because it seems like Arne Slot can kind of do whatever he needs to do to get a win and a big result. It's going to be Szoboszlai again. This guy, super, super impressed with this guy. Apart from Mo Salah's goal and assists, and his, Mo Salah was brilliant, but I thought Szoboszlai was the best player on the pitch. Obviously, not a perfect performance, but this guy ran everywhere on that field. He was all over the park. You could see the difference, Aaron, from Szoboszlai's legs to an aging De Bruyne. He just absolutely dominated Kevin De Bruyne in that game. Honestly, Aaron, I think De Bruyne is done. And I don't think that single performance is going to end De Bruyne's City reign, but it really showed the difference in quality, the difference in power, in pace, and in being able to do that for 96 minutes. Szoboszlai was brillante. Let's move, Aaron, to our front three. Now, I don't know if Arne Slot's going to do a front three, because he didn't do a front three against City, but at Anfield, I think we might see a little bit closer to a traditional kind of front three here. Of course, it's going to be Mo Salah. You and I, Aaron, both think that Gakpo deserves a start in this one. Why do you think that?
I just think his goals are everything. I think his output is better than anything we've got on the left-hand side. He's only been out for a week and a half, 2 weeks maximum. It's not like he's been out for 6 weeks and he needs to get his fitness back up. He should already be fit. It was a minor injury by all accounts. Listen, Gakpo, for me, starts on the left wing every day. Yeah, every game I'd be playing him ahead of Diaz. I just think his end product is a lot better than Diaz. I think Diaz has all the tricks in the world. He's great and he's a great engine, but his output is poor at times. He's a bit rash in front of goal, and actually he's very casual with his passing. He gives the ball away a hell of a lot, Diaz, for simple 4-5 yard passes. Gakpo is efficient. He's really good player. Gakpo.
Yeah. Liverpool yesterday against City, when they had, not a lot of possession, but when they would get the ball up to Diaz, it just seemed to stall out, right?
Yeah,
it just seemed like he wasn't able to make quick decisions. But Aaron, I think you and I both think that Arne Slot is going to go with Diaz here.
Yep.
And I have a question. I have a question for you, Aaron, and for anybody out there watching, put your answer in the comments. We were talking about Dirk Kuyt before this, and I'm curious, Aaron, would you take Dirk Kuyt in this team or Luis Diaz? Which one are you putting in this team?
So both of them are workhorses. Yeah, I think Dirk Kuyt is slightly more polished. I think Diaz is raw. He's almost very Nunez-like. He's raw. That end product hasn't quite developed. He's a box of tricks, an absolute box of tricks, and his pace at times is frightening, which actually something Dirk Kuyt was lacking massively. Dirk Kuyt didn't have that pace. But Dirk Kuyt, I mean, he gave you 150% every single game. And I think for me, Dirk Kuyt, if you were playing that front three, I'd replace Diaz and put Dirk Kuyt down the middle. Yeah. Just because I think 150% every single game beats, poor passing at times and slightly reckless shooting. And I just like, you know what? It's a hard choice, but I'd go just Dirk Kuyt.
It's fair because I think you see the type of service that this team is able to put into the middle, right? When Darwin Núñez is in there, even when Jota is in there and Diaz, Dirk Kuyt was always in the right spot in the 18. That's really how he scored a lot of his goals for Liverpool, was just cleaning up the dirt and being where he needed to be positionally. But that's just kind of a stupid hypothetical. We have Luis Diaz, and I expect him to start in this one. Aaron, I'm going to jump into our score predictions. This is what I've got, Aaron. I think Liverpool score 3 at home against Newcastle, and I think we actually limit Newcastle to 1 goal. I think it's going to be a 3-1 win. What do you think?
Listen, we're free-flowing at the moment. And listen, there's no criticism of Diaz. I think he's actually probably better down the middle than he is on the left, just because his work rate is really, really good. And I think actually Gakpo's efficiency on the left, Salah's efficiency on the right, 3-1 looks a really good score, Sam. I'd like to see Szoboszlai pop up with another goal and an assist again, because this guy, on his day, mate, he's having some really good games at the moment. And actually, I just want him to be a little bit more greedy. Yeah, just a tad more greedy. His goal the other day against Man City, that left-footed finish into the reverse corner was awesome. Great finish. Yeah, I mean, Edison didn't even move. Yeah. I'm going to go with 3-1 with you, Sam, actually. I think that's a really good call.
Good. I just, Newcastle, and it could be more than 3. Newcastle is just unable to defend right now. They let in 3 against Forest. Obviously, they won that game. But they let in 3 against Forest, 4 against City, 2 against Fulham. They couldn't hold Southampton to a clean sheet, and then they got beat 4-1 by Bournemouth at home. So coming into Anfield, I feel like the pressure is off, right? We kind of sensed that against Man City yesterday, where we didn't have to go out and smash them. We just needed to control the game, take our goals well, and get the heck out of there. And that's what we did. And I think the Anfield crowd is going to be absolutely roaring, because I think we're going to smell blood, Aaron. And I think we know that if we come away with 3 points against Newcastle, and it's just so hard to imagine Arsenal getting a result against Forest, I feel like we're going to it could be it. It really could be it after Wednesday. And
not only Forest, Sam, but Forest away. Yeah, Forest away is a different kettle of fish than Forest, even though they beat us at Anfield.
Absolutely. And you think Arsenal's going to go in and score 1 or 2 goals there? It's just hard to believe, Aaron.
I'm curious as to whether Nwaneri's injured. I'm curious as to whether Nwaneri, because he come off injured, Sam. He come off with a niggle, and it popped up that he was injured. So if they've got another injury in the attacking line, I mean, I don't know what their attack looks like on Wednesday.
Yeah, I don't either. Lewis Skelly probably out, I think, with the red card, and they are getting thin. But let us know what you think in the comments. Smash that like button. And guys, as always, up the Reds. Come on.